Good evening, everybody, and welcome here to race number 7 of the FTF Grand National Series presented by Splash and Go. We are here tonight for short track racing at South Boston International. 4/10 of a mile this track is. It's smaller than Bristol. And Seth Cole alongside of Sam Dyer this evening. And Sam, I mean, short track racing, only 32 cars, but what are your expectations for this race?
I'm expecting a lot of bumping and rubbing to be happening with these cars being so close and the track being so small. It's going to be a tricky one and probably a long race for us tonight.
And I believe in most races, it's the top 25 in points that are locked into the event, but with it being such a small track, only the top 20 in points were locked into tonight's race. 12 drivers made it in through go or go home qualifying. And we have quite an interesting scenario as far as points as well, because, you know, with the fact that these drivers are all going to be in close proximity to each other, it's short track racing, every position counts for a point, and the standings, especially down near the bottom of the proverbial playoff points, they're really, really close.
Yeah, no, they're extremely close. I mean, coming into this thing, you've got drivers that are only about 5 to 10 points off of the bubble, so it's going to be extremely close, while up front, it's kind of a takeaway with Jared Justice just taking it away from everyone else.
Of course, last week, these drivers coming off their first road course of the season. They ran the infield at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and a dominating performance there by one Blake Reynolds. He led all but 2 laps in that event, so he becomes the 4th different winner this season, joining Michael Cozy Jr., of course, 3-time winner Derek Justice, and our Daytona winner, Kane Cook. Right now, however, out of all of those drivers, only 2 of them right now look like they would maybe be in possible playoff contention, as Kane Cook is not in this race, and he was outside the top 20 in points coming in. And Michael Cozy Jr. did make it into this race, but obviously he's going to need to gain a lot more points to get himself up in the top 25.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the points stretch out as we coming close to getting closer to playoff-wise. We are starting to see cars piling in. Right now at the top of the board is going to be Derek Justice with the pole at the moment, but we still have about half of qualifying still to go.
And Derek Justice looking to go for 4 wins in only 7 starts this season. Right behind him is going to be Spencer Preet. He's actually the highest of the go-or-go homers that made it into this main event. And the 12 drivers that made it into the main event in no specific order are the 051 of Donovan Strauss, the 37 we just mentioned of Spencer Preet, the 1 of Dylan Smith, the 52 of Grant Brown, the 14 of Vincent Salas, the 06 of Spencer Burns. We've seen him earlier on this season. The 83 of Bobby Sweeney, the 05 of Max Brady, the 000 of Dalen Barr. We saw him actually last Wednesday bring a 7th place home in the Elite JoinAPS.com Cup Series at Watkins Glen. The 99 of Michael Cozy Jr., a former winner this season. I believe his win was at Phoenix, if I recall correctly. The 89 of Brandon Hawking, and the 71 of Chris Wetz. We're seeing quite a number of these guys, especially right now here in qualifying, with Preet up there in 2nd, Cozy there in 3rd. I mean, are we looking maybe at a go-or-go-home driver make it into the main event and maybe taking the checkered flag?
I mean, Preet has been looking quick. He was 2nd fastest during practice and now 2nd fastest in qualifying as it stands at the moment. So he's a driver to watch out for if he can get a clean start, as he's running pretty similar times to Justice. So it's still possible for those guys that were go homers to get a win and really help themselves in points.
As I'm looking here through the running order, yes, Kyle Riley in the 62 is in the field, and he's technically, if you think about it, the bubble driver coming into this race. He would, based off of the point standings right now, be in that 12th and final spot. He's going to have drivers like Brian Mercurio, Bronson Stafford, Sean Butler breathing down his neck here tonight. And so it'll be interesting to kind of not only see the battle on track as far as positions are concerned, but also as far as points.
As it looks like we are coming down the last couple of seconds. I don't know if anyone else is out there running laps. Derek Justice right now is in the lead. No one else is on the track any lap time, so Derek Justice is going to get the pole.
He is. So Justice, who I believe this might be, I think it's his 2nd pole of the season. I'd have to double check my facts on that. but hoping to go coast to coast here, starting from the inside of the front row and hoping to finish P1. As you'll notice, tonight's race is called the Battle of Energy 150. It is an energy drink themed race, and so a number of drivers are out there running paint schemes related to energy drinks. I believe the entire Speed Incorporated team is running Speed Energy machines, kind of no irony there. As the field is getting ready to grid here, and we will be showing you your starting lineup. The front row is going to be Derek Justice alongside of Spencer Preet. And as we look through the rest of the starting grid, I mean, I think you brought up something very interesting, Sam, about if cautions come out here in terms of the 150 laps we have to run.
Yeah, under this rule set that we're doing tonight, we're actually, when you're under caution, those laps are not counting. We're only counting green flag laps. So this could go actually to the time limit, which the time limit for this race is going to be 1 hour and 40 minutes. So if we have a caution fest go on in this race, it could come down to time.
Something I watched when they were in their practice session, a lot of drivers really getting on the brakes on corner entry. So it'll be interesting to see if we do manage to get into a longer run. I'm not expecting a real long green flag run because obviously we're at a short track, but if we get into like maybe a 10, 15 lap stint, be interesting to see how the tire wear with getting on the brakes as hard as they seem to have to on entry, how that tire wear is going to come into play with the handling of their cars and if they can keep them glued down to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, pit stops wise, it's not really going to be based off of fuel. It's going to be based off of tires for this race. How well are you able to save your tires for later on? Because fuel wise, I believe they can go about 100 and something laps. I don't know the exact number, but they can go over 100 laps on fuel. But it's tires that they need to watch out for. So we'll have to wait and see who can save their tires the best and have the best long run, or who has the best short run here if we have a caution fest.
Here's what your point standings look like coming into this race. The driver's highlighted in yellow, currently in playoff spots. Now, he's not highlighted in yellow, but Kane Cook still in the top 25 in points, so he is still eligible with his Daytona win for a playoff position. I have a feeling, though, after tonight's race, he may fall outside of the top 25, and so that would move the driver currently running in 12th position up into a playoff spot.
Yeah, it's really based on where these drivers land in the end of this race, and some of those bubble drivers in points. They just need to have a good finish at this race, and they're basically into the playoffs per se until we get later on in the season.
Well, Derek Justice has been the king of restarts in the races that we have broadcasted here in FTF. He's going to be controlling at least this initial start and maybe quite a number of more. We'll see if he's going to be the king of restarts here tonight, as he and Spencer Preet are going to come around. The pace car darts to pit road, 150 laps, and we're racing at South Boston.
As you have Justice pulling away, able to get past, and it looks like Preet's going to be stuck on the outside with now he's able to get in line. It's very nice to see people just giving him that space to be able to drop down, as everyone, we're going to be side by side battling up for fourth, and there's already caution.
Caution is out already, first one, and it takes place on lap number 2. I believe it might have been the 27 of Franklin Ash. 48 of Andy Margot might have been collected as well. I think the 26 of Kevin McAdams was caught up. Yeah, he's got some pretty good front end damage.
Oh, he got spun around.
One of those Speed Incorporated drivers. He's got the green paint scheme with Speed Energy on his machine. And I think maybe the 19 of Joey Bailey got involved as well. He's got a bit of a buckle there on the hood, and a bit of that.
With the 26.
That Mustang front end crushed in. We'll take a look and see what happened here. Bailey is coming to pit road. McAdams doing the same. Damage at a short track. Does it affect you or no?
If you're getting any dents on your car, it shouldn't really affect you that much, but if you get any engine damage, it will affect you, and it's going to be pretty difficult for you to get any speed off the straightaway. Yes, this is a short track, but getting that launch off with power in your engine is very necessary if you're going to have any chance of moving through the field.
That wreck was right up at the front of the field, actually. McAdams, at the time, I believe, was running in the 5th position, so not only does he have a damaged race car, but he lost a ton of. positions on track. Going to ride on board here with the ASC Ford Mustang of Joey Bailey and see what he saw. Not a whole lot of time to check up. Looks like it might have been I thought that might have been the 58, but it wasn't. Might have actually been the 051 of Donovan Strauss that actually got into the back of Kevin McAdams and spun him around. And of course, Strauss was one of the drivers that made his way in through knockout queue.
Now, another thing to look out for while we're under yellow
Actually,
is a
green
little
flag
thing.
actually just came back out.
Oh, I am in the wrong stage then.
Green flag just came back out on lap 6. So apparently, going back looking through these replays, we may only be able to show you one replay of what happened. I was going to do some camera angles and everything, and then I noticed the green flag's back out. And that's the one problem with short tracks too, is it doesn't take them very long to do their pace laps.
It really doesn't. And I think that's why they weren't wanting to put these pace laps as we're still going.
Oh, Kraus in 3rd place. This might be the best battle right now, as Justice and Preet have been able to gap themselves pretty well. So you got a couple of Supras duking it out for the 3rd position. Kraus in the 91, Frisch in the 58, and then Michael Cozy Jr. right there as well in 5th place. There's last week's winner in 6th, the Coca-Cola Energy Chevrolet of Blake Reynolds. Actually, that's actually Coca-Cola Cherry. Sorry, I read the sponsor on the quarter panel wrong. The requirements for drivers that ran, like energy drinks and stuff, they could actually run soft drinks as well. So that's why you've got Blake running a Coca-Cola Cherry machine right now.
So we've got a little bit of a battle going on with the 35 machine of Shane Butler and Hawken.
Brandon Hawken in that TWB.com, actually TWB Incorporated rather, Chevrolet. He was another driver that had to race his way in to the main event, running solidly here in 9th, and as you said, trying to take 8th place away from Sean Butler. Right behind them, you've got the 38 of Shane Theron. Shane really struggled last week at the Homestead Road Course. As a matter of fact, both of the Sky Motorsports cars did, and Shane dropped to 8th in points after that. Bronson Stafford dropped outside of the playoff grid down to 13th. Right now, he's running in 13th on the track.
Really shows you that a bad day can really drop you in points, but having a good day here can bring you right back into it.
Right behind Therian right now in 11th, you've got Brian Mercurio. Mentioned the fact that Kane Cook drops outside the top 25 in points. The next driver outside the playoffs, points-wise, would move in. Mercurio is that driver. Comes into this race 12th in the points.
This is a short track, and it looks like our leader is starting to get up to lap traffic already, as we're only a couple laps into this green flag run, but he's already caught up the 53 machine.
That's Justin Malello in the 53, and he's going to gain a very lucky caution.
So close to going a lap down for the 2nd time, but is not going to be going around. That was the 48 that actually spun around.
Andy Margot.
Actually, that was the 84.
Oh, that'd be Cosmin Ishinoshu. Another of the Speed Incorporated machines. So it may end up being 2 Speed Incorporated cars bringing out the first 2 cautions of this race. Go back and see, and ironically, the 2 Speed Incorporated cars bringing out the cautions save another of their Speed Incorporated teammates in Justin Malello with those 2 yellows. As you mentioned, he was close to going a lap down both times.
Yeah, I mean, he was close to going a lap down. Again, he is already 1 lap down, so saving him a little bit.
Yeah, Cosmin just getting loose there off of 4 down into the inside wall, and then he backs the car up right in front of Andy Margot trying to get it going again.
Yeah, Margot had nowhere to go with how fast we saw them back up.
Very fortunate there that Margot had the wherewithal to get on the brakes, saw it lock up the front tires to avoid plowing into Cosmin. Cosmin managed, I think what happened there was Cosmin felt a sense of urgency with the way his car was facing. He wanted to get it fired up and get going so he didn't lose a lap. You mentioned about Malello currently 1 lap down. I believe the free pass car was the 19 of Joey Bailey, who was collected up in the first caution. And Kevin McAdams looks like he has actually taken his car back behind the wall. So a tough break, a great qualifying effort here tonight, but it goes south in the first 3 laps of this race, and he's going to finish in 32nd. And McAdams comes into this race 20th in the point standing, so he's down there near the cut line of where drivers need to be in order to be locked into a lot of these events.
I think one thing though for McAdams is that yes, it's a shame that you had a bad race, but if he can somehow get that car fixed up, I don't think that we've seen the last of these cautions. And I think that if he can get that thing fixed up and other machines have bad days, he could possibly get back into this.
Yeah,
and at least get a couple of points.
You could very well be right. So Justice is going to be getting us back green with Spencer Preet in second. We haven't really seen Preet make a challenge on Justice, but at the same time, he's been able to kind of ride around in second place there under that last run.
Yeah, I mean, Justice has been pulling away whenever we're on like a little bit of a green flag run here, and it looks like Preet's just, he's content with staying in second as he's faster than the guys that are behind him. But Justice, he just pulls away as he gets another clean start here.
Preet's going to slot into second. Battle's going to be for third between Philip Kraus on the bottom, Michael Frisch up top. Blake Reynolds thought about sticking his nose in there 3 wide. Oh, contact there between the 91 and the 58 off of 4.
They all kind of accordion there. They all just got jammed up. So it looks like Reynolds now going to be trying to go for fourth.
Donovan Strauss back there as well in the 51, the JD Graphics Chevrolet. I'm sorry, that's actually a Toyota Supra. Trying to hold off
there's
Michael
another
Cozy
caution
Jr.
in the back.
And it might have actually been the
Double
triple zero.
Yeah.
Dalen Barr.
Zero goes around.
Barr Visual Supra, a lot of damage. Kyle Riley might have gotten a little piece of that. I see he's got some damage, although that could have just been from hard racing there. 72 of Chris Wetz has got some damage as well. He was another driver that raced his way into the show. Don't know if he might have gotten a piece of this. 25 laps in, third caution of the night. Not really that much of a surprise, I don't think, especially knowing we were coming into a track that's smaller than Bristol. And this actually, this starts with Dalen Barr, but it's actually Dalen Barr and Kyle Riley that get together. And this was over into, I believe, turn 3. Dalen's going to get into the back of Riley, spins him around, and then you just see the track blocks up. That's Andy Margot in the 48, nowhere to go, and you saw Chris Wetz get some damage there as he went around the outside, also in the 72.
Yeah, I mean, this track is going to be very difficult for everyone, especially if there's any issues that happen up front. It's going to accordion back where everyone's going to be jammed up. It's really going to affect the cars that are in the middle and the back of the pack. So it's going to be difficult if you're going to be trying to move up the pack with all these cautions, and a lot more dangerous for the cars that are in the middle and the back.
Well, Kazuma Nishinobu actually did lose a lap with pitting under the last caution, and so he is the free pass car. Puts 28 cars back on the lead lap now. While we're under pacing, let's take a look at a couple of the guys that are running energy drink cars here in tonight's theme race. Spencer Preet, I actually noticed, is one of those drivers. He's got the Monster Energy Zero Ultra sponsorship on his machine. We've already talked about Blake Reynolds there in the 3 with the Coca-Cola Cherry. We'd have to go quite a ways back before we find the next driver, and I believe that is the 67 of Andrew Schwartz. He's got the Mountain Dew Code Red sponsorship on his Ford Mustang. Right behind him, Ryan Naraki in the Speed Energy Fuel Toyota. Franklin Ash in the Rowdy Energy Ford Mustang. And then you got a lot of these guys back here from Speed Inc. You got Kazuma Nishinobu there in the pinkish Speed Energy machine. You got Chris Wetz. I'm sorry, not Chris Wetz, sorry, Justin Malello rather, in the yellow Speed Energy machine. And I believe there's another Speed Inc. car that I am failing to notice as the green flag comes back out. We'll find it in just a moment here.
We got a long race. We're only 30 laps into this 150 lap race here at South Austin. So there's still plenty of time to figure out what paint schemes are out there. as Derek Justice pulls away again from the lead and is really giving Preet
Another
as much
caution.
room. Oh,
52
another
of Grant
caution.
Brown. That was in 3 and 4. Looks like Ryan Naraki got caught up in it. There were a couple other cars up there top left of the screen that were slowed up. I think Kyle Riley might have been spun around in front of some of these guys, and they had to whoa up, let him gather his car back up.
Well, we really haven't been able to run too long of a green flag run, but kind of opening it up to maybe there will be a little bit of strategy of, hey, when do I pit when the leader pits, or do I stay out there to get better positioning than everyone else?
What do you think they might do that? Around halfway point, perhaps?
Halfway, maybe lap 70 or so, they could be trying to do it. But it really matters on how aggressive they've been doing, how aggressive they've been on their tires while we've been on the small green flag runs that we've had. Hasn't been a lot. You know, you're sliding up there, you're slamming on your brakes. There's a possible chance that some of these drivers have been using up more of their tires than some of the guys up front have been doing.
Right there, it was almost kind of a 3 wide with some stacking up going on. Grant Brown up into Bronson Stafford, and a little contact as well from the 14 of Vincent Salas. That was actually Stafford's car that we saw over on the top left of the screen that had spun out, and everybody was load up and waiting for him to get his car refired. I believe all the drivers involved were able to keep themselves ahead of race leader Derek Justice, so they are still on the lead lap. And, I'm looking ahead at the schedule next week. I mean, I guess we could kind of call this the short track swing because they're having to deal here with the 0.4 of a mile South Boston. Next week, it only gets worse. It's another short track, the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Bristol is is just as difficult as South Boston. I mean, there's a lot more banking involved, and it feels short just because it is a short track and just how much banking you have to go into. There's not many lanes at Bristol as you'd think there would be. It's really, you stand on the bottom and you try to save your tires, or you're up trying to be as fast as you can, as we're starting to get lined up here.
And ready to go back green. As just to let you guys know as well, that Bristol race, you guys will be seeing that on STN. They'll be covering that one. We will be back the following week for some road course racing at Spa. But as we get ready to go back green, Derek Justice ready to get us back underway on lap 36. Like Philip Kraus got a better restart. I thought for a moment he might make a move on Spencer Preet for second place, but now it's a battle between himself and this time Blake Reynolds on the top side.
Yeah, it seems like Kraus is just always battling someone right next to him at the start of this, while Preet's getting amazing just being able to drop down because of how great Justice's restarts have been. As it looks like our next side-by-side battle is going to be between the 99 and the 051.
Donovan Strauss, Michael Cozy Jr. Cozy ran the corner a little wide there. Behind them, Brandon Hawken and Sean Butler back at it. Just a little bit of a flip rolls there. Now it's the 35 on the inside and the 89 on the top side. Ooh, Butler got a little loose, and so Hawken's going to clear for the 8th position.
It looked like they're going to be all side by side, which is kind of jamming everyone else up behind them with how much they're staying. And that's as Derek Justice is just pulling away.
Side by side for 4th, Michael Frisch to the inside of Blake Reynolds. And I think we kind of have to consider this track very similar to Bristol and Martinsville. You can get freight trained. You get stuck up there on the outside line. If you're not able to hold your ground, you're going to lose quite a number of positions because everyone's going to migrate to the inside line to try and pass you.
Oh yeah, completely. If you're on the outside, you're pretty much going to be losing any space. If you're at a Bristol or like here at South Boston, you don't want to be on the outside. You want to stay on the bottom as close to that line as possible. It's the fastest place to get around here. But here's the thing, everyone else is trying to run there, so you're going to have to use your bumper to get around someone or wait for them to make a mistake.
All right, we've gotten a couple of laps under our belt here for this green flag run, and the last couple of times that Derek Justice has started closing in on the tail end of the field, quick caution has come out and not really allowed us to know just how good the 31 car is in getting through traffic. I think maybe, fingers crossed, if we remain green, we may get a chance to see it here on this run.
Yeah, if we stay green for another 3 to 5 laps, we're probably going to be seeing some green. We're going to see some lap cars getting lapped down, as Justice is just looking so quick, as there's going to be a little bit of pressure coming on Preet.
Philip Kraus so far this season 7th in the point stands, 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. He's been up there quite a number of weeks, up inside of the top 10. A couple of times, though, he's run into bad luck in the later stages of races, but still been very consistent. And to be perfectly honest, there's been a couple of guys that I've looked at, not only in the broadcasts we've done, but in broadcasts that have been done by other broadcasting companies. And, if I were to make a list of some of the guys that I think can be up there and challenge Justice for these wins, Kraus, I think, is definitely in that list.
Yeah, Kevin Kraus just needs to get by Preet. It looks like he's trying every move he can besides using his bumper, and he's just trying not to. It's still a long race. We're only 47 laps in out of 150, so got to take it easy here. And yeah, you want to get by him, and Justice is pulling away, but once he gets to that lap traffic, you have to wait and see, are they going to get out of Justice's way, or is it going to be a little bit harder for him to get by?
Right now, Derek Justice enjoying about almost a 9/10 of a second lead back to this battle for second, which is about to be a three-way dance, as Philip Kraus has been having issues getting around the 37. Blake Reynolds has been able to reel in these two, so that's second, third, and fourth, all right now separated by about 4/10 of a second.
And fifth place is starting to fade back a French, but it looks like it's going to be the 99 machine that's all the way back battling side by side for sixth. That's going to be causing some issues for that machine.
Michael Cozy Jr., race winner at Phoenix, trying to get himself up there in the point standings. Coming into this race, he is currently 37th in the standings. He's only made 2 starts so far this year, not counting tonight. So if he can continue to make more starts, there's no doubt in my mind that since we're only on race 7, he's got a good opportunity to be able to get himself up into the top 25 in the point stands. It's just the problem for him is week after week, he's having to qualify his way into these races because he's not in the top 25 in points.
Having so close, but yet so far, just needs to have a good points day today, and it could put him back into the top 25 so he doesn't have to race his way in, as Derek Justice is now closing in on some lap traffic. And these first couple of cars isn't going to be the hard part. It's when he gets up to these packs up here battling with cars that are in 24th on back. That is a big cluster of machines that our leader is going to have to figure out how to get by because they're all battling for position.
And a lot of guys, that qualify towards the rear of the field may have really strong cars. You just don't really know it because they're boxed in. There's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Justice is the only one who's really had free seats. And maybe Pre, who's running in second, because Justice is giving him that, as there's almost a second gap between them now, as our leader is slowly gaining up and catching this pack of machines.
Riding on board with the Baskin-Robbins Toyota Supra. You can see he's closing in there on another machine. Hard to tell from that angle who that is. That might possibly be not the 48, it might actually be the 000 of Dalen Barr.
That it is.
Right now, Dalen is currently running 1 lap down in 29th. If Justice gets around him, he will be then -2 to the race leader. Bronson Stafford's actually a lap down as well in the 61 machine, and we saw Andy Margot just get lapped moments ago. So right now, 26 cars on the lead lap, and be interesting to see if we do manage to go into a long green flag run, just how many cars Derek Justice is going to leave on the lead lap.
Yeah, it really is. These machines really aren't going to be worrying about pitting until about 100 or so, or anywhere from the midway point, which is around 750 to about 100 laps. So you got a 20-lap gap of where we might be seeing cars pit.
This is the best battling going on right now, and it's happening 8th, 9th, and 10th. Michael Cozy Jr., Brian Mercurio. Ooh, as Andy Margot got the wall and Cozy got the wall right behind him. You've also got the 38 of Shane Theory in there as well. Those drivers right now running solidly inside of the top 10, and then right behind them, we saw him get involved, I think it was in the last caution, the Dogecoin number 14 Mustang of Vincent Salas. Right now, good outing for him here in what I believe is his first start, currently in the 11th spot, trying to hold off Butler in the 35 and David Shieldhouse in the 20 car.
I mean, being around 11th is really a good spot, especially at this track that's been looking difficult for the first couple of laps of this race. Now everyone's kind of settling down, figuring out where they're at, as it looks like Sale's about to be losing that 11th place.
Dylan Smith's back behind this as well in the one machine. Ooh. As Margot up the track there into the wall trying to get out of the way. People have a little contact there between Salas and Shieldhouse. Sends the 14 up the track.
Salas almost got into the outside wall, but was able to save it.
Dylan Smith says, thank you very much. I'll take that spot.
And if we move up back to our leader, you can see he's caught up to this pack of machines. And it's given Preet the timing to catch back up as he is now about 6/10 away from our leader.
It's Dalen Barr in the 000 just up ahead there. By the way, yes, I believe this is the second start that Dylan Smith has made this season. He raced last week at Homestead in Miami. Didn't get the finish he was looking for, though, 38th. So definitely running a lot better here tonight at South Boston.
Definitely would say so.
Gap right now about 7/10.
Caution's
and
out.
Caution again. And it was right in front of the leader. That's Bronson Stafford in the 61 again. Bronson was already a lap down, and looked like he got some help, too. I couldn't tell who it was that helped him. We'll find out with the replay, but right in front of race leader Derek Justice, and that's the one thing about these short tracks as well. You may be running really well up in the race lead, but it doesn't matter where you run at a short track, nowhere is safe.
Yeah, honestly, once you no longer see just clean space in front of you, and you see cars in front of you like the leader was starting to see with lap traffic, it's dangerous. You're dangerous in every position you're in, as we are starting to see cars come into the pits next time. So this could be the pit stop for the rest of this race.
Here's the contact. 61 of Bronson Stafford with a little bit of help from Go or Go Home driver, the 05 of Max Brady.
Preet just had a major issue. He drove too far in his pit stall. He's going to be losing a lot of time. As Kraus, he's going to be the first one off pits and is going to be getting a ton of time and going to be getting first, I believe, off of cars that did pit.
Now they've got an interesting system here with how pit road works, and I believe you listened in on driver's meeting of just how that works.
Yeah, so the top 16 cars in qualifying get to pit on the front stretch, while the rest of the machines are going to be pitting all on the back stretch. So if you're got in the top 16 in qualifying, you got more of an advantage to be coming in and pitting compared to the machines that have to drive all the way around from the start of the line all the way back to the back stretch.
We're looking here at Derek Justice, and you can see Philip Kraus got out ahead of him, as did Brian Mercurio. And the 62 of Kyle Riley actually stayed out. So he is going to inherit the race lead. I mean, that car looks like it's been through a war zone right now. Definitely has not been to Outback Steakhouse. It certainly doesn't look like. But at least getting himself some bonus points here for a lap led, leading a couple of laps. And I think this is important for him, too, because we talked about Mercurio coming into this race, maybe getting a playoff spot if Kane Cook drops outside of the top 25. Well, Kyle Riley right now is the bubble driver coming into this race, 11th in points. He would, if the playoffs were to begin coming into this race, he would have been the 12th and final driver.
Yeah, I mean, being out here, being up front, it gives him the chance to lead a lap, and he might be expecting another caution to come out, and just as long as he's getting this bonus point, he's getting at least another point to help him out.
Been out there this entire race on that set of tires, 72 laps. Fresh tires to his outside, fresh tires behind him. It's going to be Riley, Kraus, Mercurio, Justice, and Blake Reynolds. That's going to be your top 5. The rest of the top 10 are going to be Spencer Preet, Michael Frisch, Dylan Smith, Andrew Schwartz, who we really haven't talked a whole lot about now up there in the top 10. And right now, completing the top 10 is Shane Theron.
Preet really having the biggest loss, going from 2nd down to 6th, just because that pit issue. So we'll have to see if he's able to make his way through this pack and get back up front, as we're also going to see Justice not starting up front, so he's got to work his way through a couple of machines. We'll see how his car works in traffic.
We already mentioned Kevin McAdams out of the race. Looks like Franklin Ash has taken his car back behind the wall as well, as the green flag is back out on lap 74, 77 laps to go. Also sitting on pit lane right now is the 53 of Justin Malello. Don't know if he's going to get back there out on track or not, as Kraus trying with those fresh tires to go around the outside and take the lead. He succeeds in doing so.
Another machine to watch out for is Malello. He looks like he wants to go. He might be trying to get under this machine as they are all getting jacked up on top of one another. There goes 14 around.
Shane Theron was way up the track as well, but he keeps it straight.
Multiple cars involved in this thing.
I think Jake Poulin, yep, the Hardee's Toyota got spun around there, the 00. I think that the 051 of Donovan, I don't know why I want to say Donovan Strauss, I think he got collected up in this one too. And there you see the Dogecoin Ford. It's tough to tell it's a Ford because the whole front end is gone, but it sits currently on pit road. Vincent Salas. Go ahead and see what happened there. Salas was running up there pretty well too. I think it was in the top 15, and it looks like there may be some contact between him maybe and the 19 of Joey Bailey. Let's see. You mentioned the fact they were really stacked up. There were a lot of drivers going up the track. I saw Shane Theron was almost up and into the wall, and oh wow, Brandon Hawken got hooked up into the 14 car. I don't know who that was that got him, but he nosed it into the outside wall and then clipped the 14 along with him. The car behind Hawken, I believe, is Bailey in the 19. We'll see if it was he that spun the 89 out. Down here into this corner, into turn 3, you see Hawken checked up, ran to the back of Andrew Schwartz, and then I think it was Joey Bailey who didn't check up in time, and he got into the back of Hawkins, sent him up the track. Chris Wetz also got a little bit of damage from that too.
Dallas has put his car behind the wall, and also Kyle Riley has come into the pit, so he'll be starting all the way in the back. So he got his couple of laps led. She's going to be giving off the leading position to Kraus, but on his outside it's going to be Derek Justice, who's one position away, getting back into the lead. Also, a car that moved up is Preet, who's up to third.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, right now in third place with Mercurio there in fourth. And one thing I was looking at here too, this is going to be the first time since these drivers came to pit road, really, that Derek Justice is going to be starting up there on the front row, but he's not the one in control of the restarts. He's going to be in the second position. So we know that we saw how strong he was being able to pull away from Preet and everybody else. The question is now, how strong a car does he have to try and make a pass for the race lead, with Philip Kraus being the one that controls the restarts?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's pretty difficult. If you make a move up front, you're going to be jacking up a lot of cars behind. That's kind of what happened on this last one, as we have Kraus taking the green, getting a great start, but Preet staying below, not giving Justice any room to come down, which could cause him to get freight trained.
Preet's going to try and get to the inside there, keep it to the left rear so Justice can't get down in front of him. I've noticed a number of these drivers actually going down almost onto the apron through 3 and 4, so I didn't realize that was a racing lane until just moments ago. As the battle's now going to be for third, Justice did clear for second. It's Preet and Mercurio who both got hard on the brakes going into 3.
And yellow is out as there's caution in the back.
And I believe this one might be the 35 of Sean Butler. It is. The Pennzoil Ford Mustang around in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Just to update as well on incidents that have taken place for the last 2 cautions. Max Brady has fallen a lap down. Brandon Hawken has fallen a lap down as well. I believe the free pass car under this yellow is going to be the 000 of Dalen Barr. And looked like it was contact between the 52 of Grant Brown and the 35 of Butler that brings out this caution. The 52 goes around, Butler goes around as well, tries to correct it back, car is facing the wrong way, and he had to wait for everybody to pass him by before he could get the car refired. But I believe he is still on the lead lap.
You know, there was something we were talking about before we went live, which was, are we going to make it to the end with all the time? Is there going to be enough time for this race, just because yellow flag laps aren't going to be counting? I think we're going to make it. We're only 34 minutes into this race. We haven't even hit our marker, and we're past halfway point of this race right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that those 2 spurts we had of green flag racing, I think that definitely helped out for us to definitely make it underneath the time allowed marker. And who knows, we may end up seeing a couple more green flag spurts here before this thing is done. I want to go back to a couple of weeks ago at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Derek Justice was in a great battle at the time with Graham Bolin, and Bolin actually got into the back of Justice going into 3, tried to push him up the track. He tried the bump and run at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're at a short track. We know that probably if, whether it's Kraus leading or Justice leading, Preet, Reynolds, whoever it is that's leading, whoever's in second place, if they're within closing distance, they're probably going to try and use the bumper.
Yeah, I mean, that's if they're in closing distance. Based on the restarts we've had so far, it looks like Derek Justice is getting the best restarts of everyone. He gets a great run, and no one is really close to him once they get going. So it's mainly going to be, is Justice starting? I don't think anyone's going to touch him, but if Justice is in second, well, the way it's if he uses bumper is we are green.
Green flag in the air there. That was close on Derek Justice when he pulled out the inside behind Philip Kraus. The
yellow's out.
Oh, caution's out. But the front half of his car was past the start-finish line. The back half of his car was not. I don't know what the lane change rule is here for FTF, and I believe the 051 of Donovan Strauss may have brought out this caution.
Kraus's car looking a little beat up after this one.
Just a little. Go back and see what happened to him. Strauss was another of the go or go home drivers, as this was out of, I believe, turn 2. I think he's gonna actually no, this was it was out of turn 2. I think it's the 20 of David Shieldhouse that he's gonna make some contact with potentially. Nope, actually it's Michael Cozy Jr. Oh, and Cosmonician No Shoe nowhere to go, as well as the 52 of Grant Brown getting some pretty significant damage.
Just a little update on the rules. Actually, re-looking at it, got a message that the caution laps have been counting this whole entire time. So that's why we've been running so quick through this race, because caution laps have been counting while we're running under them.
So that definitely accounts for it, no doubt about it. We're going to be getting the restart with less than 60 laps to go here, working our 8th caution of the night. And right now, I think if you're the race leader, the cautions are your best friend, because every lap that you do under pacing, since we now know the caution laps are counting, is one less lap that you have to worry about defending your position.
Oh, definitely. I mean, for these guys up front, it's the position you want to be in. I think it's the position Justice wants to be in, because he knows he's got one of the fastest machines here. And we know that Preet's also got a fast machine, but both of them are on the high side, so we'll see if they're able to drop down, or if we're going to be seeing someone like the 3 machine to really make a move here on our leader.
Look at a couple of guys that are running pretty well outside of the top 10. Right now in the top 15, you got 12th place Spencer Burns. He had to race his way into the event, as did Bobby Sweeney in the 83. Right now they are in 12th and 13th positions. And also a driver that's got some pretty significant damage, Joey Bailey. Right now in the 10th spot. I mean, you said it earlier. You get some damage on the car. Being a short track, it's not really all about speed, and so your car could be all banged up and still be up to speed and still competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about if you can keep your engine good and clean, you're pretty much set at a short track. Anything else really doesn't matter. As we are green. Kraus getting a fantastic start. Justice able to get enough room to come down, and now our side-by-side for third.
Blake Reynolds, I think, wanted to get to the inside of Justice. Justice said no way. Reynolds almost, I think, thought about maybe going up the middle 3 wide, as Justice does clear for the 2nd spot. Battle will now be for 3rd between Preet and Reynolds, and then behind them you got a battle for the 5th position between Mercurio and Frisch.
It seems like Frisch has always been battling with someone side by side, either with him on the outside or him on the bottom. So it's good to see that he's still staying consistent, as the battle for 3rd is still brewing. We'll see Preet's trying to get the run on the outside, but just looks like he's not been able to.
Yeah, Michael Frisch has scored top 10s in 50% of the races he has started this season, 3 in the first 6 races, as Reynolds trying to go for back-to-back wins after winning the Homestead Road Course last week, but he's got a first wrestle away 3rd place from Spencer Preet before he can then focus on the top two. Ooh, Preet got a little bit loose there off of 4. He is going to lose 3rd and maybe 4th as here comes Frisch.
Yeah, he's about to get freight train. If he continues staying on the high side, he needs to find space to be able to come down and then start making some moves, as he is still continuing to lose spaces. He was up to 2nd, but now he's just been falling back, being stuck on the outside. He almost had space there to come down, but just not able to really make the move at that time.
See Philip Kraus continuing to lead the way, but this is not what it was like when Derek Justice was leading. Justice would gap everybody. Right now, Philip Kraus has got a rear deck lid full of the Baskin-Robbins Toyota.
Yeah, he's got 51 laps to try to hold off this 31 machine, and it's going to be difficult. I don't think you can hold off him for 51 laps, now coming to 50 laps, but you never know.
Everyone basically pitted back at the halfway point. Lap 72 is when they all came to pit road. So I think that's the only pit stop they're really going to have to make. So really what we're seeing now are dashes through the checkered flag. All of these drivers, they've all made their pit stop. They're all going to keep their track position. And we've got our 9th caution of the night. Like this one could have been Cosman again. It was. That 84 car has been beaten up tonight.
I was going to throw out before the caution came out. If we stayed green, I think the one issue that our leaders were going to have was lap traffic, but this throws out another wrench in there that even if we go green, who knows if there's enough time for lap traffic to be a factor.
But Cosman has really been having a tough race here tonight at South Boston, coming off actually a win in the FTF Cup Series on the Under 2003 side last week. But definitely not the run he's been looking for here this evening. He actually, I believe, almost wrecked right here as he got a little bit of help from the 051. Oh, and then I think that might have been Dalen Barr who went up the track and into the wall, and then he clips Cosman and sends Cosman around again. Little contact there for Andy Margot, and I believe that might have been the 61 of Bronson Stafford that got caught up in yet another one as well. I think he's been involved in 3 wrecks tonight. Cosman, I think, has been involved in 3 wrecks as well.
A little update on cars that have been running well and started late. Well, started pretty far back in the pack, starting at 30th, now up to 7th. It's going to be the one machine of Dylan Smith. Great run for him. Another one is Andrew Schwartz. Started 29th, now up 9th. So a couple of these machines maybe didn't have the best qualifying day, but have been running very well so far.
Kristen Hagenstein Photography on Dylan Smith's number 1. That's actually been a long-time sponsor of his over on the NR side, and no surprise to see it over here on the iRacing side as well. Andrew Schwartz in that 67 machine. You see, he's used that front bumper quite a bit here tonight, but still soldiering on in the 9th position. Schwartz comes into this race currently 5th in the point standings. They're trying to keep his playoff hopes alive. As a matter of fact, right now, he's en route to scoring his first top 10 of the season.
Just got to keep it clean for another couple of laps here as they are ticking down, being under yellow.
So we saw that Derek Justice did not allow Blake Reynolds to get to his inside for 2nd place. We'll see if he's going to be able to defend that spot this time as the green flag is out. Justice is not going to be able to dive down there. Reynolds is there side by side for 2nd.
Reynolds has been side by side with the car next to him, but he gets the runoff that really allows him to clear and come down. But this time by, still not able to. Reynolds staying strong and could be complete the pass and stay in 2nd.
Yeah, Justice may have slipped a little bit over there in 3 and 4 that last time around. See how he does this time. Oh yeah, again, it looks like that car, I don't know if he gets tight or what, but it looks like the car kind of bogs down a bit in the center of the corner. He's going to lose 2nd place, now defends against Frisch to hold on to 3rd.
Justice was almost thinking about throwing his car down below Reynolds, but just wasn't sure about it that time. He'd do it here entering turn 1.
And now it's a new 2nd place machine in Blake Reynolds trying to see if he can reel in Philip Kraus for the race lead as we are under 50 to go. We'll be at 40 laps to go when they hit the stripe. Reynolds overdrove that corner a bit, almost brushed the wall, and that opens the door for Justice.
Justice coming back into the action, but another car that's showing strength. And it could be trying to battle it out with these 3 machines, Frisch and that 58 machine.
Michael Frisch has been up here in the top 5 pretty much all night long. Frisch comes into this race currently 4th in the standings. Been very consistent this year, but still looking for a W. As a matter of fact, up here inside of your top 4, 50% of them have not won a race. Justice has won 3. Reynolds, of course, won last week, but both Frisch and Kraus, they're looking for their first trip to victory lane this season.
A car that came in and had to go through the go or go home is now in the top 5. Still trying to battle his way back from losing all that time earlier.
Side-by-side battle for the 7th position. Andrew Schwartz on the inside, Dylan Smith up topside, Shane Therian also in this mix, and Spencer Burns, another guy who had to race his way in through the go-home qualifier. Right now in that 10th position, trying to hold off Ryan Narwaki in that Speed Energy Toyota Supra.
Up front, they're all still single file, but you can just tell that Justice wants to go. He's been on the back bumper of that 3 machine as tight as he can as Reynolds gets a good run, and now on the back bumper of Kraus.
Top 4 right now, less than 0.7 of a second separation. 35 laps to go. I have a feeling we haven't seen our last caution, but Reynolds gonna look there. Isn't quite to the inside. I mean, in your opinion, how close do you think these drivers have to be within the vicinity of each other to even consider a bump and run?
I mean, you have to be right on his bumper pretty much entering these corners. And, Justice is in the right spot to do it against the 3 machine at any point, as he's just riding the back bumper of the 3.
Right now, Blake Reynolds is more focused on trying to take the lead away from Kraus. Full contact.
Kraus entered that corner a little high, which gave Reynolds the space to come down low, which cautions out.
And the 3 was ahead of the 91 at the timing of the yellow being thrown. So Reynolds is going to be the leader when we go back green. This caution, it might have been the 84 again.
Now with this caution, it also allows Justice now to start at the low line. So we'll see how this affects these top 3.
Well, I know it definitely involved the 06 of Spencer Burns because he was running up there just inside of the top 10, and now he's back here in 26th. So we'll go back and see what happened to the Hulu Ford Mustang.
Doesn't have a front bumper, so we went for a wild ride, that's for sure.
That contact between himself and Ryan Narwaki, this was actually a battle for 10th place at the time. Little contact into the right rear going into the corner, and then a little contact again to the same spot, sends the 06 up the track. Evasive maneuver by Chris Wetz, knocking the wall down on the top side to get around, and also splitting him on the bottom with Max Brady in the 05. So, looks like we will get a restart with somewhere in the vicinity of 25 laps to go. Now, we were talking about when Philip Kraus, on the time that everybody came to pit road when he inherited the race lead, that it was the first time that we had seen somebody outside of Derek Justice up at the front of the field. Well, now we're going to get to see what Blake Reynolds is able to do starting out in front.
Yeah, we're going to see if Blake Reynolds can get just as good a starts as Justice was getting, or if we're going to be seeing what everyone else is doing, which is kind of barely getting in front of second place, allowing them to come down. So we'll see what we're going to see here as they're starting to line up.
So it's going to be Reynolds and Kraus the front row, Derek Justice and Michael Frisch row 2. Spencer Preet still there, looming in the 5th position with Mercurio 6th. The rest of your top 10 right now are Andrew Schwartz, Shane Therian, Dylan Smith, and Sean Butler. After his spin earlier on, he's been able to rebound up to 10th. Ryan Narwaki, who made the contact there with the 06 of Spencer Burns to bring out that latest caution, is going to restart 11th. Joey Bailey in 12th. David Shieldhouse, Donovan Strauss, and Grant Brown, who's had a couple of spins. That's your top 15. Right now, your top 20, Kyle Riley, Jake Poulin, Dalen Barr, Cody Atkins, and Bobby Sweeney. Right now, we currently have a total of 26 cars on the lead lap. Green flag back in the air. Just to update, Chris Wetz has taken his car back behind the wall.
27 laps to go here at South Boston, and a great start for the 3 machine, as we're going to have to see if he can pull away from Justice. There's already a caution.
Caution's going to come out yet again. Looks like it might have possibly been the 99, I think, of Michael Cozy Jr. It's hard to tell. There's so many cars back here that have damage. It's hard to tell if it was from an earlier incident or from the incident that brought out the caution. Might have actually been the 5 of Cody Atkins. We'll go back and look. Actually, I believe it might have been the 89 again, Brandon Hawken, who had just moments ago raced his way back onto the lead lap with being the recipient of the free pass. And, ooh, he got a lot of help. He got, boy, a couple of cars got ran over. Hawken got ran over, and I believe that, it was Cody Atkins got ran over. Max Brady just kind of plowed through the both of them. Go back and look at that again, because I didn't see anybody like really stacking up for anybody having an incident up ahead of them. And the 05 just never lifted, just ran over both Hawken and Atkins. Watch right here. Hooks around the 89 and then drives into the back of Cody Atkins.
Yeah, some people try to do a little bit more of aggressive bump and runs, but you know, it's a short track. Could be short tempers going on out there.
Definitely could. Atkins is able to recover up in the 19th position is where he's running. We mentioned Hawken had just raced his way back onto the lead lap. I think he's still on the lead lap, but that dropped him all the way back to 26th.
Well, with this caution, we're going to be now starting with less than 20 laps to go, so there shouldn't be any lap traffic. If we do go green the rest of the way, lap traffic should not be an issue. It's just going to be these guys up front battling it out to see who wins this thing.
We're obviously, too, I think, going to see a couple more cautions before this race is over, so we have to beg the question, the possibility of a green-white checker, or maybe multiple green-white checkers in overtime.
I'm trying to remember, does FTF have multiple green-white checkers, or is it just one?
I believe they are multiple.
As they're getting lined up and ready to go here.
Green flag back in the air, 21 laps remaining. Justice gets right down in front of Philip Kraus and onto the back bumper of Blake Reynolds. Gonna be side by side for the third position. Spencer Preet trying to do something on that outside line, holds at least alongside the 91 for the moment.
Yeah, this is the same position that Preet was in last time, but he lost all that position and dropped all the way back down to like 6th or 7th. So he wants to get to the low line as fast as possible. Up front is basically a two-car battle between Reynolds and Justice. As another caution's out.
Caution is out. You saw right there, contact between Kraus and Preet sent Preet into the wall. Like this caution could very well have been the 05, and I almost wonder if maybe someone like the 89 or the 5 might have been in his vicinity.
If they are, then I'm imagining that these guys are going to have to go talk back with race control after this race. It's a little bit of retaliation if that's so.
No, it was not him, actually. It was the 84 again, Cosmonition Oshu. Boy, I think he's going to be very happy when his trailer leaves the vicinity of South Boston, because it has just not been his night. There you see it right there. Car gets loose on him behind Michael Cozy Jr. Nowhere for Andy Margo in the 48 to go. Oh, and then the 05 comes in and plows him. Not sure the 05 car has a brake pedal, but...
You know, its pedals might be broken. I've had that issue once or twice where my pedal broke during a race, and it gets kind of tricky. Sometimes you just want to end your race there, but I mean, he's just trying to figure out how to coast this car around as much, staying out there to get as many points as you can, but at the same time, it's kind of risking a lot of other drivers.
Now, Cosman remains on the lead lap. Looks like the 05 has actually been given a penalty, perhaps. He is on pit road and is sitting in his pit stall. I think he might have gotten an EOL penalty, actually. Possibly for the plow. Looks like he is going to get back out still on the lead lap, though, so we'll still have 26 cars in the lead lap. We got a couple of machines that are multiple laps down. Bronson Stafford currently in 27th. He is 4 laps down, and you see the bright yellow and black number 53 of Justin Malello. He's 28th right now, 7 laps down to the leaders. Just out there, I think, logging laps to your point. If we end up having some more cautions here in these final 15 or so laps, maybe pick up a couple of more spots in the running order.
Up front, we're only about 15 laps, about 14 laps to go. I think in first place is the place you want to be in, but with Justice behind you, you never know if he'll use his bumper. So it's going to be interesting up front to really see what's going to happen, because it seems like it's always the front two that get away pretty cleanly, a battle for third. So I think it's just going to be a two-course battle up front for the front two. And who do you got your money on?
You know, it's really tough because these are two former winners here. Justice has won 3 times. Reynolds won last week. I'm going to put my money on whoever is running second on the final lap. I don't know which one it's going to be.
As Reynolds gets a fantastic start, and looks like Justice just backs up a little bit, but it looks like cleanly gets down below. And once again, the battle is for third and on back.
If you're Derek Justice, do you think about, even before the last lap, maybe trying to get up there and move the 3 car out of the way to take the lead? Because not only would you take the lead from him, but any other cautions, you would then again be the control car on restarts.
If you make the move too soon and there's still time on the track, you're giving that 3 a chance to get back on your bumper. So it's really up to Justice. If he feels like he can only get by the 3 and there's not going to be another caution, he's going to make the move then.
Side by side again for third. It's Kraus and Preet. These two were going at it on the last restart before Preet got put up into the wall, and he's going to get in the wall again. Ooh, that right front came off of the ground. Going to drop him back to at least 4th. Frisch going to try and get up there and take the spot. Ooh, contact again that time between the 58 and the 37. Boy, no love for the car on the outside.
9 laps to go, and Reynolds is pulling away from Justice. This could be the 3 cars race to win at this point and race to lose. If there's another caution, it could change everything right now.
Blake Reynolds, of course, had that dominating run last week at the road course at Homestead Miami Speedway. He led 42 of those 44 laps. The only other driver that led some laps was Graham Boland. That was only during a cycle of green flag pit stops. And looking for back-to-back victories here. Blake comes into this race second in the point standings overall. Obviously, as far as the playoff points are concerned, he would be in the 2nd seed also, but looking for playoff points here now.
And you also got to think about all the bubble cars that are possibly to get as many points as they can, as the battle for third is still heating up as we are 6 laps to go, coming up to 7.
Couple of Supras duking it out for the final spot on the podium, perhaps there. Frisch on the bottom, Kraus on the top side. And how about Sean Butler? What a comeback for him. It's not easy at short tracks, especially ones that have a lot of cautions that come out, to work your way from a spin, from a wreck back up into the top 10, but he has done so. Up in the 8th position, almost ran into the back there of Andrew Schwartz as he had to get hard onto the brakes, and now that opens the door for Shane Therian to battle him for that 8th spot.
Yeah, Schwartz having a great day. Started 29th up to 7th, and possibly if he continues moving forward, if he can, could get a top 5 finish, at least a top 10, as the leaders are getting by Bronson Stafford, who's being a lap down again, with our leaders being 3 laps away from the end of this thing.
Stafford's been involved in a couple of wrecks. He's also been having some connection issues during the course of the night, but looks like the top 2 at least are going to be clear on him. 0.8 of a second, the gap between Reynolds back to Justice. And with 2 laps to go, Justice may be run out of time. He may be hoping and praying for a caution to come out here before the 3 gets back to the line.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been that Justice used up all of his stuff trying to get from 4th up to 2nd now. But Reynolds just running smooth laps, running all the way at the bottom as we are on the white flag.
2 more corners for the Coca-Cola Cherry Camaro. Last week he dominated at Homestead Road Course. Tonight he's going to take it back-to-back wins as he wins the Battle of Energy 150 at South Boston Speedway.
I mean, a very clean lap. That last restart, he got away from Justice, and Justice just could not get back to his bumper, and it was his race to lose. Congratulations to Blake Reynolds with another win this season.
And we may be looking at a couple of favorites when the playoffs begin. I mean, we were talking about a few weeks ago the domination of Derek Justice being able to get 3 wins so early on in the season, but now it looks like Blake Reynolds says, hey, I can do it too. So far, 2 victories in his first 7 starts.
As Reynolds is burning it down. Rich moving it up. I mean, he was in the top 5 all race long and got up to 3rd to finish this race off. So good for him. I mean, Derek Justice, he got a 2nd, and his car looked very strong all day. So good for finish for him as well.
Yeah, 3 of the top 4 in the points coming into this race finished on the podium spots. Justice the points leader, Reynolds 2nd in points, and Frisch 4th in the standings. Not a bad run here tonight as well for 3rd in points, Jake Poulin finishing in 13th place, and Blake Reynolds even doing some burnouts there on a pit road. And if that is his pit stall, that was amazing. I don't know if he's sitting in his pit stall or not, but if he is sitting in his pit stall right now, I don't know how he pulled that off.
I don't know, impressive the fact that he basically burned it down and then teleported there. I'm pretty sure he just restarted his car back into that spot. Overall, a great race for these guys. And yeah, there was a ton of wrecks, and it seemed like it was the same guys having issues all race long. But overall, a great race up front.
And when you go into these short tracks, you expect that you're going to have quite a number of cautions. So, it's not a surprise by any stretch of the imagination. But overall, some really good long green flag runs. And we are actually joined right now by our race winner from Victory Lane, Blake Reynolds. Blake, congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's talk about that restart that got you up there to the race lead. You were battling it out there with the 91, got the caution half a car length ahead of him. I mean, had that caution not come out, did you think you were going to be able to clear the 91 and take the top position?
I think so. It got to the point in the run where I just felt like I was able to save my right front a little bit better than everyone, and I don't know why, because I was cranking a ton. Like we were turning like 90 degrees there if you're running 12-1. So yeah, I just something clicked with me, and like when the tires really got worn in, we got some heat cycles on them, and I just was able to really get through the center of the corner and up off the corner. That's just where I was beating them. But yeah, that caution was super lucky. Philip had just made a mistake, and then we doored. And then, yeah, the caution came out like right as I was ahead. So, yeah, who knows what would have happened? It's a short track.
We saw last week you dominated at the Homestead road course. Having that win in the bank, did that give you like any added incentive to be aggressive now as you're trying to go and accumulate as many playoff points as you can in tonight's race?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was scoring enough playoff points because I felt like I was getting enough top 5s. I think it's top 3 that pays out playoff points in this league right now. So, yeah, I figured I'd be in the playoffs anyway. I was 2nd in points. I wasn't really too worried about that. But obviously a win helps a lot. Gets you some playoff points, and I'm sure that'll help when the playoffs start.
Yeah, Blake, it looked like you really got a fantastic start whenever you were starting up front. Were you nervous at all that maybe Justice was going to come back and be right on your bumper on that last restart?
Well, yeah, you always got to watch for that. But I don't know. I felt like just on those restarts, I don't know if you noticed, I was kind of warming my tires just a tiny bit just to get that little bit of grip in, because I figured this race would go kind of, caution fest at the end. But we ended up getting that, I think, was that 15 laps green at the end?
I think it was like 13, 14, 15, somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah, Derek started catching me those last couple laps, and it's just because I warmed up my tires. Usually you want to keep your tires cooler for a long run. So I wore my tires in the restart, and I got a jump away, and I was able to jump away further than he could send it in and possibly get to my bumper. So I think that helped quite a bit.
Absolutely. I mean, right place, right time. The right timing of a caution definitely helped you out as well. And back-to-back wins here in the past 2 weeks. Obviously going to give you some good momentum, I would think, going into yet another short track next week at Bristol. I mean, you're dealing here with a track that's less than a half mile. You're going to another high-banked short track. So, what's the mentality based off of this race and going into that one?
Well, I've been trying a new braking technique. And I think this will help me because I also have the Coke Series race at Bristol on Tuesday. So, like, I don't know. I just feel a lot more confident. I've usually always been a right foot breaker, and that probably sounds weird. But yes, I have right foot braked for a long time. Tonight, I really was on top of it, making sure I always left foot braked. I feel a lot more comfortable now, and for the Coke Series race, that'll be really important. So yeah, you wouldn't think that something in FTF would help me into the big league, but it kind of has. And then next week, depending on how the Coke race goes, I'll use that information to go toward the FTF Bristol race.
All right, definitely going to be interesting to see what you're going to be able to apply from the Coke race into the FTF race next week. But for the moment now, we're going to turn the microphone over and let you do some shout-outs.
Sure thing. So Team Dylan Esports is my Coke Series team. We have Coca-Cola, StockX, Beneath, Sparko, Real Tree, and then, of course, Austin Dillon supporting me, and then everyone at my back-end team, Dead Zone, Houston Hammer, Dustin Lingert. And then FTF team, I believe it's called Scuderia Macaroni Salad or something like that. Kyle Riley's team. That's the team I'm on in here, so I'll give a shout out to Kyle. And all the admins in here. This race went smoother than I thought it was going to be, so I'll just give a shout out to the whole admin team and everyone that runs FTF.
All right, that's Blake Reynolds. Back-to-back wins. Takes the checkered flag here tonight at South Boston. Congratulations. Go enjoy.
All right, thank you.
All right, and we're now going to try and get a word with the runner-up finisher, Derek Justice. I believe we've got him. Derek, you dominated there in the first half of the race, and then you ended up losing some positions there after everybody came to pit road. Did you think you had the car back in traffic to be able to get back up there to the front?
Once I got to second place when Kyle Riley stayed out, I knew it was going to be a little bit hard to get around Philip. I just needed some time to wear his 2 tires. I think he took 2 tires. If I'm not mistaken, to get really loose off the corner where I can take an advantage. But we didn't get that long run speed. We didn't get that short run speed that we have, and just got stuck on the outside a lot. Under a lot of restarts, burned up my right front a little bit. I just couldn't get it to turn at the end there.
We saw on quite a number of restarts, especially up at the front, if you started on the outside, you were at the mercy of maybe someone dooring you up into the wall. But on the inside, too, it kind of looked like the car would get a little bit tight down there in traffic. So what would have been your preference, really, of wanting to, if you were in that second row, of being on the inside or the outside?
Well, on the inside, second row, you just got time to restart and make sure the guy that's starting on the outside on the front row doesn't fill in the hole, which I did a lot. I felt like... And if you're starting the outside, you just have to pray the guy in front of you goes and not get stuck and get freight trained, because it's really hard to hold off the outside. You're just using more tires.
Yeah, Derek, it seemed like you had one of the best restarts compared to everyone else throughout the race. On that last restart, did you just feel like your tires were just too burnt up to keep on fighting with Blake, or was there something else that went wrong?
Yeah, it was definitely, like I said, prior to a lot of those restarts, starting the outside, tried to not get freight trained, because there was a couple of times I got stuck on the outside, and I think that was just enough where I couldn't get my car to turn on center off where I needed to be.
Is there anything that you can apply from this race being 0.4 of a mile to next week going into Bristol, a half-mile track? I know there's a huge difference in banking and everything, but in terms of how you approach the corner with braking, is there anything you can carry over from this week into next week?
You just gotta be aggressive. Caution, when one caution comes out, it breeds caution. So if we get a long run in, you just gotta make sure to pace yourself like I did when we had that 30-lap run there, and I was able to pace myself, and I had about like a second and a half lead until I got caught in lap traffic. But you just gotta learn how to pace yourself. You gotta recognize how the flow of the race is gonna go. So
Well, definitely. If you can't win the race, second place is the next best thing. So definitely a good run for you. You've been very consistent all season long, 3 wins, but also the races you haven't won, you finished up there inside the top 5 tonight, no exception. We're going to turn the microphone over to you and do some shout outs now.
Yeah, thank you all for putting on this broadcast. All the admins of FTF putting this on every week. It's a fierce competition. There's battles everywhere. Everybody has a good time. Of course, shout out to my Twitch chat. Shout out to everybody that supports me, and of course sponsors Baskin Robbins and Toyota, and I'm not going to say who I'm on Road to Pro yet, but I got picked up by a team. I will announce that later on this week.
Ooh, that'll be interesting to find out. But that is Derek Justice. He finished his second here tonight at South Boston. Congrats.
Thank you.
And of course, as mentioned too, Derek Justice is the only driver this entire season that has finished every single race now inside of the top 10 in the first 7 starts. We're now going to get a word with third place finisher Michael Frisch, who will undoubtedly remain up in the top 5 in the point stands. I believe we have him here. Michael, a great run with you here in third place, but man, you had to fight to get up there into the podium.
It was not easy tonight. It was a tough race.
Talk about the ability to be able to pass here. I mean, we were seeing a lot of drivers have kind of be able to hold on to their positions on the top side. Drivers seem to be getting tight down on the bottom. I mean, was there any clear way to be able to make up ground, or was it basically everybody was kind of boxed in and hoping that the car in front of them was going to move forward so that way they could?
I think on certain scenarios on the restart that some of us on the outside line actually got some good runs on the guys on the inside. If we pinched them down low enough, we'd end up getting the run out, and then we'd just cut down in front of them going into 3. But sometimes it wouldn't work out when we had our older tires. Everybody was getting wheel spins and we'd kind of get spaced out going out of 2. So at that point, it came to using our bumpers to getting around people and just kind of moving them out of the way.
Yeah, Michael, it looked like you were constantly side by side with someone. Did you find like there was some part that you felt like it was more difficult to pass people, or did you just it was easier wherever you were at?
I think the most pressure was when you're getting side by side, it's because you're going to lose a lot of time at that point to the people behind you. So you want to get around them pretty quickly. And if you're working on them more than 3 laps, you got like 5 guys up on you. So I think that was the biggest concern about racing tonight up in the top 5 is you want to make them passes sternly and you want to do it really quick.
Sam alluded to it, that you really, every time that we looked back, you were racing side by side with somebody. So you didn't really get much of an opportunity to be up there in clean air, but with how strong your car was, being able to work your way up there from eventually 8th up to 5th and then finally to the 3rd position, do you think if you had the opportunity, you would have had anything for the top 2?
No way, I had nothing for them guys. About after 20 laps when we got that one green flag run, I can really feel that I was losing pace to them on the long run. So I don't think I really had a shot at anything with them. I was pretty content where I was finishing, so I was okay with the pace I was running.
I mean, you've been sitting really good as far as the playoff points are concerned, and definitely with this top 3 run, you're going to sit even better. You might even actually move up into the 3rd in the standings with the 00 finishing outside of the top 10. But we're now going to turn the microphone over and let's do some shout-outs.
All right. I just want to thank out Dalen Barr for giving me a stout car every week. We put another hot scheme on the car back-to-back weeks here. Did at Homestead last week, and we did it here tonight, and finished 7th, I think, at Homestead. So I think we're going to continue to run this car. So it seems to be luck on our side, and just want to give out shout out to all my guys on Phil, Brian, Dylan, Andrew, all them guys just working with me all night and not giving me a hard time racing them.
All right, that's Michael Frisch. His first top 5 of the season comes here tonight at South Boston. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
And that is going to conclude our coverage here tonight from South Boston. I think we basically covered it, before we did the interviews. It was a short track. We expected to see a lot of cautions, but surprisingly and quite pleasingly, we had some pretty nice green flag runs as well.
Yeah, I mean, we almost had the chance to see what our leaders would do having to go through lap traffic, but every single time they got close, there was a caution that came up. But those green flag runs, it was cool to see how the second place would have to gain back or how far our leaders would gap everyone else. So overall, it was just a great short track race.
Absolutely, and the short track racing will continue next week. I'm going to call it the short track swing because we had it here tonight with South Boston. Next week, STN is going to be giving you guys the coverage at the Bristol Motor Speedway, the last great Coliseum. Then we will be back in 2 weeks' time as we will go road course racing at Spa. And a little bit of an interesting thing here that I'm going to be really interested to see if we do fill it out. 62 drivers can race in that event. So if we get 62 drivers at Spa, that is going to be really crazy to try and keep up with all of the action. But Sam, thanks for joining me here this evening.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Again, don't forget next Saturday to tune in to STN for their coverage at Bristol Motor Speedway. But until then, hope you guys have a good night. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. You've been watching